Hey, what's going on, everyone? In this video, I want to share some helpful tips that I've learned through doing a couple of game jams this past year. This is going to be a sort of tips and helps sort of guide from a composer and sound designer's point of view. Anyways, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is go to itch.io. Okay, so what is that? We're just going to show you here. I'm also going to put it in the description, but super simple. Itch, like an itch. You're scratching it. Anyways, yeah. So you're going to go to this website, and you want to go over to Jams here. So you go to Jams. The way I normally do this is I'll go over to Upcoming this month, and this is going to show all the game jams that are coming up. Okay, so you can kind of click on any one. You can say, oh, hey, this is cool, and all. You can see all this stuff, right? And the important thing here is that you're going to see that it tells you when it starts. So this one starts in 2 hours, 8 days, and then it's going to tell you how long it lasts. You also can see how many people have joined and stuff. The cool thing about game jams is, of course, you know, there's sometimes prizes, sometimes not. It doesn't really matter. It's really about the experience. But yeah, so how do you meet people, and you know, how do you sort of set this up and find people? This is what I want to help with, the first thing. Okay, so let's just say I'm like, oh, okay, sweet, let's do this mech jam. All right, generally on this page you are going to find a link to the Discord. That's generally how you're going to meet people. You can do it through, you know, Itch, but it's kind of strange. I've never done it that way. Actually, no, I have tried it, but it doesn't work, at least for me. So anyways, you're going to click on that, and it's going to send you to Discord. It's going to say join Discord. Sometimes it asks you if you want to open the desktop app, but this is just the way it's working. Anyways, it's going to bring you to whatever the Discord thing. If you use Discord, then, you know, hooray. What you want to be looking for is this. You want to be looking for team up, or find a team. That's another sort of channel that has that in order to find people. Sometimes the Discord server will have this thing where you need to, not in this sort of thing specifically, every Discord server is different, but you'll generally see something where you have to react to a role. And I think they tell you that in the beginning too as well, but I'm just putting it out there. You have to react to a role. So I have to say, oh, I'm, you know, music guy, and now I can actually post some stuff. So just keep that in mind. You want to go over to the team up, or, you know, this is just this one server, but there's generally find a team or something like that. And you want to go in here and basically just message people yourself. This is the most important thing. When I first did this, what I did was I just like, hey, you know, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm composer, sound designer. Much actually like this guy here. So I you know, I did that. I linked myself, and this is great. Actually, this is how you should be doing it. This is what I did. But what I failed to do, because I guess I was a bit shy as well, I just let it. I was like, all right, well then I'm gonna do the game jam, and that's it. And I didn't get a message, right? I've had times where people have messaged me, but all the game jams that I've actually found a good team with, I've messaged people. And so what I did was I just, you know, created a basic message, and I just messaged everybody that I could find. Everybody is like, hey, you looking for a team? This is what I do. Here's my stuff. And I did it that way. This is really important you do this, because if you don't, you're just waiting for people to message you, and it's not the best approach to it. You want to find a team, and the more people you've got, you know, the more options you have to work with people. Of course, when you're doing this, you want to make sure you have some music to show to people already. Every single time somebody's like, hey, do you have some music I can listen to? Make sure you can send that to people, and make sure it's under an 8 megabyte limit if it's like a single track, or if it's a link, then don't worry about it. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is set up a Trello and a Git Hub. Git Hub, I will explain in just a second, but let's just first talk about Trello. So Trello is right here, and Trello basically is just a way to share. A lot of people working in creating games like to do this, just a way to share ideas. Sometimes you also use Google Docs as well. I use both actually when doing these projects. This sort of thing, I will actually come back to it, this check-in and check-out system with GitHub, and that actually is going to lead into my talk about GitHub. You know what, I'll show you generally how it works, but you know, if somebody's on your team, they might explain it, but I'll just do it just for the sake of it. GitHub. Okay, here I said GitHub. Yeah, they're gonna come chase you. All right, so somebody's gonna create a project using, you know, Unreal or Unity, and then they're gonna put that onto GitHub. Most likely won't be you because you're new to this, right? You're just gonna click the link, whatever email or whatever link they give you. It's gonna generally bring you to a page, something like this. It's gonna have different names and stuff, like because the project is gonna be called something different, right? But all you need to do is go to this little green part here, and you want to open with GitHub. And it's going to say fine, open with GitHub desktop. Now what's going to happen is it's going to prompt you to do your local path, so make sure you put that in a good spot on your computer, and then you're just going to hit clone, and then yeah, you're good to go. Anytime you're working with GitHub, you've got your own files on your own computer, and everybody has their own files on their own computer, but then there is this one main repository that everybody is pushing and taking from. Right? The way it works generally all the time is you have your origin that you have to fetch first. So say for example, I come in and I'm saying, okay, I want to work. So I have to fetch from origin, and now you're going to have the latest files. And now what that means is you're going to be able to work with whoever uploaded last. Their changes are going to be on your computer now. It's going to update in your files. So now you go do your thing. And then once you're done, you write a little comment, what you did, commit to main, and it will say push to origin. That is the super simple way of how to do it, and generally it works like that. But what I actually want to talk about is the issue of when you're working with other people, when it doesn't work out. Now, through some of the game jams that I've done, I've had an issue, and GitHub is quite finicky when you're working at the same time as other people. This is sort of an issue that you'll run into when you're working with other people. So here's the scenario, right? I get the latest, all right? I get the latest changes from GitHub. So now I have it. I start working on my project. But now somebody else on the team goes and fetches the same one that I fetched, does some changes, and then submits it. And the changes that he did is going to be in the exact same spot that, for example, the map. He submits it now. Now I get ready to go submit, do my thing, push it, and now it's going to say, oh, there are some changes that have been made that basically are just going to screw you over. So what's happening there? Basically, the person who, you know, got the latest did some work in the same area that you did. And now you either have to revert your files, so reverting basically just means basically deleting your files, or overwriting your files to be in line with theirs, or the other person who actually just submitted has to revert their files. Now it's a very annoying process, and it's one of the reasons why I'm actually putting it on this video. The best way I found to get around it is just use a Trello, but there is some built-in stuff with Unreal that you can do. There is a GitHub beta that you can set up. I would recommend, if you are doing that, you set that up. The programmer or who is more familiar with GitHub should set that up. But yeah, no, if you're using Trello, all you need to do is just have a check-in and check-out system. This is the way I've done it with a couple of jams, and it's worked quite well, quite decently. A lot of the times you'll run into a situation where you're working on the same time, especially near the deadline, and you're working at the same time, and then you screw each other up, right? And especially when you're so close to a deadline, you don't have time to make these mistakes. And I have personally had some projects that I haven't been able to submit because of GitHub errors. So this is why I want to explain this. So you have a check-in and checkout system, right? Very simple. So all it is, it says, okay, I am working on this part of the map, or I'm working on this part of the project, and I'm working on it from this time to generally about this time. You put this in here, and everybody on the team, when they start their work, they look in here first. And they say, oh, okay, so-and-so is working on this thing. Okay, I won't touch it. And it doesn't necessarily mean you can't work on the project. It just means that you can't work in that specific area that they are. You can also do talking with people, but I think it's better to have this so you can be accountable, and you can also hold people accountable, right? You don't want to have to delete your changes if you don't have to. Okay, so one of the other issues that I ran into when using Wwise and GitHub was the 100 megabyte over. You exceed the limit. So this will happen when you are working, with Wwise and Unreal, and you go to push your changes, and it will say in red, you've exceeded the 100 megabyte limit, and generally will show you what is actually exceeding the limit. More often than not, I've had Mac files be the issue. If you're not pushing to Mac, this is what I did. This is not, I'm just gonna do this as a disclaimer. This is not the best approach to it. It's a way. Here we go. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go into your actual project, the one that you've linked with GitHub and such. Okay, so I go into the project. This one's whatever it's called, Cosmic Horror, but yours is going to be named differently. You want to go into plugins. You want to go into Wwise, and then you want to go into third party. Okay, so you're going to see all these ones. The one that you can get rid of, what I normally do is I sort of just delete this, or I just move it to somewhere else on my computer, and generally that fixes the issue. Not the best solution, but it's a solution if you're in a tight space. I believe you can also push. I have to try this, and maybe I'll update this. But I think you can try pushing half your files, and then the other half, so it doesn't exceed the limit. But this is just one of the things that I know to do, and it helps. So yeah, I hope that is helpful if you actually are running into that sort of situation. The last sort of thing, which is also a bit of common knowledge, but I think I just say it anyways, you should really make sure that you prepare some own project of your own before you run into this. Game jams are really an opportunity to learn, and whenever you're working on this one, it's generally a low pressure thing. So don't feel like if you don't know this, you shouldn't start, and there's this limit that you have to reach. That's not the way it works. What I regret was that I spent actually too much time working and learning all this stuff instead of actually just going out there and just jumping in and trying it. A lot of the times in my projects that I've worked on stuff, I learned a lot from programmers, and you just have to ask them, and generally they actually know where to put stuff. Generally they know what to do, so it's not all that complicated. This whole world of game audio and learning all this stuff just seemed super difficult and tough to me when I first started out. I was like, I have to learn all these things before I even get started in a game jam. And I think the problem with that is that you're setting like a limit, which there really isn't. You always will learn more, and even if you learn as much as you can, you're going to go into your first game jam and somebody's going to do it differently, and you're going to have to work with that. So I would say the best way to do it is just jump right in. You're going to have a great time. You're going to lose a lot of sleep, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. Yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned something, I would really appreciate a like. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how to implement stuff and put stuff into Wwise and Unreal and all these other things relating to game audio stuff, consider subscribing, because I'm going to be putting some other videos out in the future, and you can learn from those too. Okay, cool. See you later.